This is what happens to your blood when you take your shoes off and start grounding.
On grounding, if you recall how we had everybody come up here and we did the 4 or 5 folks that went and got grounded, they had the pain, and we're gonna look at their blood. You guys wanna check this out? So this is before and after grounding. So this is subject one of the folks who was in our audience right here. That's their blood before. This is 45 minutes later. Okay, let's go to the next one here. All right, and you can just see what's happening. Look at it. See, there we have the agglutinated blood, the coagulated blood. There's the free-form electrostatically charged blood. Let's go to subject 3. And you see the grounded blood again, 45 minutes later. Subject 4, look at that. We're electrical creatures way before we're chemical creatures. Electricity affects you immediately. How long does it last? Unknown. It's a very good question. We don't know how long we can load up on electricity as a reservoir and hold it, but we're learning more about that. That is the subject. Now, what's interesting about this grounding business is that you hold the electricity in the Chinese meridian points, and the number 1 reservoir of this electricity in your whole body is actually your thyroid.
Did you know that your shoes are literally killing you? No? Well, let me break it down a little bit. You literally are an electrical device, and those electrical signals that are moving throughout your body power and pace your heart. They also fire synapses all through your brain and much more. You're probably thinking, what does this have to do with shoes? Well, here we go. You might want to buckle up. The earth has an electrical charge just like we do. And throughout human history, we evolved to be in sync with the ground. We either walked barefoot or had leather soles, meaning our conductive bodies were essentially receiving free electrons limitlessly from the earth. Then in the 1950s, everything changed with these guys. We started to use rubber, plastic, and other synthetic composites to make the soles of our shoes. By doing that, we insulated ourselves from the earth and all that free energy, which created more immune problems, inflammation problems, mental issues like more stress, depression, higher risk of addiction, and much more.
All right, every time you eat, you are not just eating for one. Every time you eat, you are not just eating for yourself. In fact, you are actually eating for 39 trillion others. Let me explain. This is because you are not just a human, you are actually a holobiont. And yes, this is a very weird and strange word, but when I give you the definition, it's going to make a lot of sense, especially when it comes to your health. And when we're living in a global pandemic, this is probably the most important thing you should understand, is your health. A holobiont is an organism that functions as an assemblage of multiple species that are mutually beneficial. That's the key. You see, because you have 37 trillion cells that have your DNA that make up you. However, you also have 39 trillion bacteria that live inside you, your gut, and on your skin. Which means we have more bacteria living inside and on us than we do cells. And the majority of these good bacteria work in very highly sophisticated ways to defend your health. They also influence your immune system, influence your angiogenesis, which is your blood cells that deliver all the oxygen and nutrients in your body, and they can even influence our behavior. The healthy bacteria together are called your microbiome, and they form a complex biological system that literally interacts with all of your cells in your body. And your bacteria eat what you eat. And this has a literal day-to-day effect on your microbiome, which can expand or shrink the different populations of different bacteria on a literal hour-to-hour basis inside of you right now. And this is very important because the number of bacteria species in the world is over 1 billion, and we're probably going to find more. Here's a list of a few. So be prepared to hear a lot more about bacteria in your microbiome because we have literally only scratched the surface. For perspective, in the year 2000, we only had 74 articles published about bacteria. Now there's over 10,000. And with how new all this information is, your doctors are probably learning about this in real time, which means so can you. To do that, I highly recommend getting this book because it gives you the tools for my citizen scientists to have the ability to understand how to manage their health. Because listen, being healthy is not the absence of disease or the absence of illness or the fact that you don't have a cough. It is a daily active habit. And I understand, if you guys are too busy or don't like to read, I'm going to be dissecting this book so that you guys can learn here on TikTok. So click the follow button so you can become an expert about your own body and your own health.
Stop scrolling. Did you know that there are plenty of superfoods that actually look like the body parts that they benefit? But first, hit the follow button and share this video to a friend. Have you ever noticed that walnuts look eerily similar to a brain? Walnuts are packed with omega-3 fatty acids, which keep the nervous system running smooth and keep the memory sharp. Sliced tomato has chambers just like the human heart, and also has lycopene, which is known to reduce the risk of heart disease in men and women. Or what about sweet potatoes? Their shape resembles a pancreas. Sweet potatoes are high in beta-carotene, which is a powerful antioxidant that helps protect the pancreas. But what about ginger and how it's not only great for the stomach, but how it resembles it? It contains gingerol, a phytochemical that prevents nausea and vomiting. A sideways mushroom resembles an ear. Bananas resemble a smile and contain tryptophan, which converts to serotonin when digested. And take a look at this ginseng root and the human body. Follow me for more shit like this.
So when I'm asked what's the best way to get all your minerals and all your vitamins naturally, here's what I think. Believe it or not, our entire physical makeup is comprised of 102 of these minerals in trace amounts. We're literally stardust. So according to two-time Nobel Prize winning chemist Dr. Linus Pauling, you can trace every sickness, every disease, and every ailment to a mineral deficiency. I happen to agree with him. Burdock root contains all 102 of those minerals in trace amounts, which just means small quantities. Iris sea moss is a gelatinous sea algae that contains 92 of those 102 minerals, and it's actually in concentrated amounts, which means a lot. Laderack is a highly odoriferous seaweed that when you combine with burdock root and seaweed will give you all 102 of the minerals that you need. And for all the vitamins, you want to get moringa powder. It has just about the highest concentration of vitamins of any plant on the earth. For more info, link in bio.
Now, this is probably going to be super strange to a lot of people, but drinking salt water every single morning will absolutely change your life. Here's why. Now, before I dive into why, let me say that you must at all costs stay away from table salt. Table salt has been highly processed. It's been stripped of all the minerals that are good for the body, and you definitely don't want to touch it. It's highly acidic to the body, and it will actually cause a lot of health problems. The salt that you do want to be using is Himalayan salt, sea salt, and also Epsom salt. Now, I have a really great one that I use that has all of those combined. So I'm getting the 84 trace minerals and elements from the Himalayan salt and the sea salt, and then I'm getting the magnesium from the Epsom salt. They're all the great things that come along with it. So all you need to do is just maybe like half a teaspoon, a little bit of a sprinkle into a half a liter or a liter of water every single morning. Drink that down, your body will start to feel amazing. It might taste disgusting for the first couple of days, but it's probably because your body is acidic and you want to get your body to be a little bit more alkaline. After a little while, you'll start to crave it and you'll start to see that you'll have more energy, you'll have better digestion, you'll just simply feel better, help the blood flow throughout the entire system, and you'll feel amazing. So give that a go every single morning for the next 30 days and let me know how it is.
Each nerve connects to a muscle, an organ. They connect. The best example to think, your heart connects to your left chest. And what's the emotion of the heart? I love you, or I have a grudge against you. So you have the muscle, the nerve, the organ. Since they all use the same neurotic loop is what I call it. I think they communicate to the limbic system because it creates very consistent issues. For people with digestive issues, they can be very insecure, workaholics. They can sometimes be controlling, angry. They care what other people think. Sensitive to criticism is another one. They like substance. They're usually emotional eaters. And then I look for problems from their life or trauma from 14 to 21 years old.
I was introduced to health through food. I spent 5 years eating a plant-based diet and half of that raw. I did every fast, cleanse, and detox imaginable. But the more research I did, the more I began to discover that a lot of the information that I was learning wasn't heritage knowledge. For example, the idea of mucus being the root cause of disease came from people like Arnold Ehret, a German naturopath. The acid-alkaline hypothesis from Ragnar Berg, a Swedish nutritionist, and veganism by Donald Watson. Aside from these modern diets being highly dependent on modern civilization, they weren't at all based around an ecology. I thought I was getting closer to nature, but I still had such a long way to go. Upon learning traditional and indigenous practices around food, I discovered a whole different realm outside of the dogma of modern food culture. virtually all traditional people highly prized animal foods, and the only correlation with some modern health diets was the absence of industrially produced foods. Traditional knowledge around foodways is vital because it is time-tested through many generations and proven to be able to produce healthy human life within the context of an ecology in a harmonious and sustainable way. Stay balanced.
I haven't gotten sick in over a decade, and the number one reason is because I take this one thing, and this is what I recommend to my patients as a holistic nutritionist, to have a strong immune system. Now don't let that last statement distract you from the fact that you need to exercise, drink lots of water, eat healthy foods, enjoy nature, and do things that you love. Now that's out of the way, oregano oil. Anytime I've ever felt any scratchiness, stuffy nose, whatever, I just take a couple drops, and it tastes very strong. Woo! But it kills, it's antiviral, antifungal, antibacterial, and it will kill any pathogens that is inside your body. Enjoy. Don't forget to follow more healthy tips.
Het ontbijt overslaan wordt toch ook altijd wel gezien als een zonde. Dat is een van de belangrijkste maaltijden, wordt altijd gezegd. Gewoon even in de perceptie. Ja, dus leg ons uit waarom jij dan vindt dat dat niet zo is.
Nou, eigenlijk dus eten is ontsteken. Dus hoe minder vaak je eet, hoe gezonder het is. Als ik eet, eet ik heel veel. Maar vaker eten is niet per se gezond voor je, gezond en ook niet voor je immuunsysteem. Dus dat zijn we ook heel erg geconditioneerd in de maatschappij. Maar dat komt als je 6 keer per dag eet. Dan eet je de moderne mens eet veel te veel bewerkte koolhydraten. Brood, pasta, aardappelen, rijst, melk, vruchtensappen, frisdranken.
Vleesbaar.
Nou, dus dat is heel veel glucose, dus heel veel suiker in je bloed. Je insuline raakt uit balans, dan word je insuline ongevoelig. En als je insuline ongevoelig bent, dan moet je eigenlijk 6 keer per dag eten. Want dan zeggen mensen, ja, ik kan niet mijn ontbijt overslaan, want dan ga ik trillen of ik word licht in mijn hoofd. Dan moet je het juist doen, moet je niet laten, want dan moet je het doorbreken.